Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome back to another great live stream. And we have some positive things to talk about. We're going to be talking about how 2026 could be the year of some buyer relief when it comes to real estate. Luckily, we have some very early indicators from some of the mortgage metrics. And it looks like 2026 could finally bring just a little bit of relief to buyers. And it's not going to be substantial, but any help will be positive help. So thanks for hanging out on the channel. My name's Joe. Welcome back if you have watched before. I'm actually kind of excited because we kind of have a quiet week in the world of real estate. In the last couple of months, it seems like every week there is some Fed news, interest rates, indictment, almost a war, geopolitical tension, something crazy. And the good news is it seems like from last Wednesday to this Wednesday, it's been a relatively quiet week, which is good. That's a good thing. Markets don't like when we're always, going up and down and around and going crazy. So we have some positive things to talk about. We got a couple articles to go through. One is from Housing Wire, one of my favorite real estate information sources. Then we have another one from Investopedia that does talk about how 2026 could be a good year to purchase. And we're taking a look at one pretty cool house. The house itself is cool, but it's got a unique feature, unique location, a unique neighborhood amenity, shall we say. So we'll be getting to that very shortly. If you guys are new around here, right down here is the like button somewhere. Go ahead. Thumbs up. Please like the stream. It really does help me out. Helps push the stream to more people. Doesn't cost anything. It's totally free. Go ahead, hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, and consider subscribing to the channel. So we're going to get into it very quickly. As you guys know, the best part about live streaming, you guys watched before, the best part's hanging out with you guys, being able to chat, being able to hang out, talk. So if you guys have any questions, if there's anybody in chat right now that has questions about buying, selling, what the 2026 market it might do, or just general real estate questions, this is a great opportunity to be able to, ask a real live real estate agent. ChatGPT and Google are great, but man, sometimes they can really get the information really, really wrong. So don't go to the robots. You got a real live human professional right here. So ask me. So any questions you guys have, let me know. Love to know what you guys think about the articles, what your thoughts are. So please don't hesitate to leave a comment and tell me what you guys think. So let's get into it. This stream is probably going to be a little bit on the shorter side this evening, but we're going to have a good time while we're here. If we do have any extra time, I think we might cruise Zillow a little bit, do the random price generator and see what we can window shop for on Zillow. And of course, if anybody in chat is interested in checking out some markets, and even if you're not super interested in buying something, like if you just want hey, let's, Joe, I'm in Portland. I got $500,000 to spend. What can I even get in Portland for $500,000? We'll go to Zillow, we'll put it in, and we'll do some window shopping. So if anybody in the chat is looking to buy or sell a home or wants to window shop on Zillow, let me know, and we'll take a look at it. We can take a look together. So let's start off. Let's get things going. Happy Wednesday, guys. I'm going to get this up on the screen, and we're going to start talking about this really, really cool house in Florida. Here we go. All right, guys. So here it is. This is a 3-bed, 4-bath home. It's a big one. It's just over 5,000 square feet. And it's this home here. And you'll notice it has an absolutely ginormous garage. There's a good reason for that. And it's not just because they're car people. So when I was looking for a cool house, and in fact, I'm going to put myself back up on the screen because I'm going to get past some of the pictures that give it away a little bit. Let me get inside here. There we go. Bingo. All right. So this is in Florida, and this home's currently on the market. We can do guess the price. So here it is. Here's Florida. One thing that was interesting to me, and I don't know. I'm obviously not in Florida, not from Florida. It was like a double front door. This looks like it's a screen door, and I don't know if the whole thing is screened for bugs or something, or if there's another reason for that. But it almost was like there was a like this breezeway, this gap between the exterior and the interior of the home. My only thought was like, maybe that's for bugs. I know that they get a lot of bugs in Florida, so maybe that's it. But overall, inside the house, pretty nice. Like fairly generic kitchen, right? It's nice. It's got a big island, white cabinets, vaulted ceiling, nothing too crazy. It's got oversized tile flooring, a little out of date, but it's clean, it's fresh. It's nothing crazy. So as we work our way through, again, you're not going to see anything crazy just yet. This is a pretty normal home by home standards, but the surprise is coming. It does have a lot of space. It's a big house. It's over 5,000 square feet. It does have great views. The pool is really, really cool. We have the master bathrooms, got the dual sinks, dual vanity areas, kind of a neat, almost like a European style tub with like the little 1 inch by 1 inch tile on the plaster. It's kind of neat. Really cool. Big open shower, big laundry room. So you guys are probably wondering, what is the big attraction to this house? Why is Joe featuring this house? And it's coming up, I promise. Entryway, stairs up. Upstairs, got a kind of cool like hangout room upstairs. Overlooks some things, got the full bar in there. Built-in fish tank, really, really cool pool. And again, I see this all the time in Florida. I know this is screened. I'm assuming this just has to be for bugs, right? Like, why else would you screen your entire pool area? I would only imagine it's because you don't want to get eaten alive by bugs. No racetrack across the street this time, MH. No racetrack across the street, but something in a similar vein. Here's the pool. I thought this was really cool. Like these big like steps that you step in, very like resort-like. That's kind of neat. Cool area, cool hangout area out here. And it's totally screened in from all the buggies, which is really, really nice. Okay, so what's the deal? Why are we featuring this property? Okay, it's got a big 4-car garage. Like that's really cool, but that's not going to do it. This is why we are featuring the property. It's because of this building right here. This home is located in what's called an air park community. So one of the HOA amenities for this community is a private airstrip. So this is a fly in, fly out community. And that's why you'll notice when we look at it from the air, you notice how the driveway is real long, real wide. And this is literally so you can drive your plane down it. We'll do a street view. We'll do a satellite view. But there you have it, Instead of, pulling your car out of the garage, you get to pull your, what looks like maybe a Piper Cherokee. I don't know. Any aviation people in the chat. I think it's some type of Piper, but it's hard. I don't know. But you pull that right out of your hangar, obviously where you keep your luxury cars as well. And you're away. You're gone. You are driving down to the tarmac, and you can open this up and you have a full blown hangar. And that is included in the sale of the property. So if you are someone that's been needing a house and you're just not sure what you're going to do with your private plane, bingo, here you have it. So we're going to go back to the listing here. I'll show you guys. We'll read the description here. Nestled in the prestigious, I want to block it out so you guys can't cheat, but nestled in this prestigious air park community offers an unparalleled blend of luxury living and aviation convenience. This meticulously maintained property, complete with a private hangar, modern upgrades, and resort-style amenities, is a dream for aviation enthusiasts and those seeking a high-end lifestyle in Southwest Florida. Below is a detailed overview of the property's standout features. Features a 80 by 80 hangar with modern amenities, 50 amp RV hookup, water access, features 400 square foot updated office with a bathroom, ideal for home office. And then of course you have the luxurious main residence, new metal roof, hurricane windows, all that good stuff. Enjoy a 3,300 square foot screened in pool area with a hot tub, fountains, and an outdoor kitchen, all protected by double hurricane rated remote controlled screens. So there's the answer for the screens. What is a hurricane screen? Because if it's a screen, the hurricane's just gonna go right through it. Maybe like it withstands a certain amount of wind. I don't know, but I don't know. I've never heard of a hurricane screen, but I'm glad that it has it because this is Southwest Florida, where I'm sure the hurricane season is rough. So, and of course, the air park offers a 3,200 foot runway with no weight limits or aircraft restrictions. So like you could just fly in whatever plane you want, I guess. So I guess, if you've got the small Cessna, the small private jet, that's cool. But if you also have like, the 747, that apparently is viable too. Yeah. Leaves and other light debris. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is right now, I think. I don't think it's hurricane season right now. So I think right now it is over. Upstairs entertainment area, built-in bar, half bath. That's the bar area we saw. Airport located just 5 miles north of downtown Fort Myers. I mean, this thing is pretty cool. Additional highlights: UV protected front door, 500-gallon propane tank. It's more than a home. It's a lifestyle. It's been on Zillow for 149 days. All right, guys. So it's 3 beds, 4 baths, just over 5,000 square feet. Built in 2002, and really, really cool property. We're going to reveal the price here. Let me go back to this so I can do some computer magicry. There we go. And the price, the low price, 3561 Downwind Lane in North Fort Myers. MH says 12.2 million. Okay, we've got a guess. I like that. Any other guesses in chat? Any other guesses before we reveal the price? This is for the Air Park home with a private airport, a private hangar, and a 5,000 square foot home. 3 beds, 4 baths, 5,000 square feet. 10 mil, says Innovative Solutions. We got 12.2 mil from MH, 10 mil from Innovative, 8.9 mil from Michelle. All right. Here we go. And then let's also do this, because when I reveal the price, it's also going to reveal the HOA. $1 off. She's trying to undercut. So what we're also going to do is we are going to do guess the HOA on this one. Guess the HOA on this one, because when we show both, we are going to see the HOA. So we got your price guesses. If there's anybody out there in chat that guesses, and let's do this. Let's make it interesting. If you get within $200,000, let's make it $250,000. If you get within $240,000 of the price, I'm sorry, I said $250,000. I said 240. If you get within 250,000, because that's $250,000. If you get within $250,000 of the asking price of the home, I will send you a gift card for a Starbucks coffee. So you got to get those guesses in. We're not going to do it on the HOA, but if you get within $250,000 of the price of the home, either way, over or under, I'm going to give you guys a second. I need to have the Jeopardy music, but I don't have it. We'll put on some thinking music. Okay, what do we got? Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining. I'm sorry, MH, that's not in the production budget. I need a lot more subscribers to give away a house like this. So very sorry about that. Very, very sorry. No, you're in the running for a Starbucks card. All right, guys. Any other guesses in price? We've got some HOA price. We've got some info, and for those just joining, I can't display it, unfortunately, because I'm gonna give it away if I did, because it's on every screen on Zillow. It's a 3-bed, 4-bath, 5,000 square foot home in North Fort Myers on a private runway. All right, guys, here we go. Unfortunately, I don't think we have any winners. Here we go. It could be yours for the low price of $2,988,888. 3561 Downwind Lane, North Fort Myers, Florida, and just $150 a month in HOA. It's very reasonable, and I think it's because the airstrip is like not in the greatest photo of it. Oh no, this one's actually not in bad shape. But if you're if you're an aviator, here you have it. This is not Travolta's house, but he lives in a very similar community, although it's a much higher end community, but similar thing. In fact, I think Travolta's house is actually positioned where like you literally just pull the plane out of the hangar. There's a very short taxiway and like the runway is right there. So what's crazy to me is that like you could be sitting in your house and you could just see like an airplane go down the street. And I read in the description, they specifically keep the landscaping and the streets wide. And they specifically say that there is a 60-foot clearance everywhere throughout the air park so that planes with, wingspan can maneuver and get through. So pretty neat. Yeah, that's the crazy part. 3 bedrooms and 5,000 square feet. It seems like the whole like upstairs. Let me turn the music off. It's probably a little distraction for you guys. I think probably the whole upstairs is just like the hangout area. And it's probably soaking up a lot of the square footage there. And it seems like the house is mostly contained to downstairs. But still, only 3 bedrooms is kind of crazy. Oh yeah, your dad would like it. Is your dad an aviator? Is your dad a pilot or does he fly planes? Because man, yeah, if you're an aviator, this would be super, super cool. Or even if you're just someone that likes planes and has a car collection, I mean, that shop space is awesome. And that's a legit hangar. Some people are like, oh yeah, I've got a shop, or I got a big garage, or I got space. This is like huge. I mean, that's a Hummer and that's an airplane, and there's still tons of room. So pretty crazy. So there you have it. That's our home of the week in North Fort Myers, Florida, 3561 Downwind Lane. If anybody is thinking that this home is for them, please let me know, and I can put you in touch with the agent. We can help you out. Yes, Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar is under the chat. You're exactly right, and it's especially with the Florida location, South Florida location. Yikes! Very convenient to merchant routes, shall we say? Oh, that's cool. He's a pilot and had a Cessna. That's awesome. I did an exploratory flight. I'm a bit of a aviation person. I don't have a pilot's license, but I'm a fan. I really like planes. Into World War II planes, warbirds, things like that. My wife and I actually had our engagement shoot for our photos for our wedding. We had our engagement shoot at a air museum in Chino, at Planes of Fame Air Museum, and it was awesome. It was super, super cool. And we used to go to the air show every year. So big fans of anything that flies. So yeah, you would love this house. Hey, Cackleberry, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you as always. Hey, Joe, my son is a helicopter pilot. My son-in-law is a helicopter pilot. He worked for a private person for 2 years, and the chopper was kept on a yacht. That's freaking awesome. That is so cool. So so what does he do now? Like, he only did it for 2 years. Is he still like a private helicopter pilot? That is so cool. 2 years, and the chopper was kept on the yacht. Okay, so question. If the chopper was kept on the yacht and he was the pilot for the chopper on the yacht, does that mean he like just lived on the yacht? And like when he didn't need to fly the chopper for his very wealthy boss, like did he just hang out? Like, that's freaking cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I need to know more about this, Cackleberry. I need to know. I definitely need to know more about that. That's very, very cool. We always had to drive to John Wayne Airport. This would have been so much easier. Yeah, exactly, right? Just roll out of bed, grab the bag, and bingo, off you go. This is super simple. And besides, John Wayne Airport's all busy, and this is just like easy. This is easy. Yes, he lived on the yacht and got to sightsee and stuff. Okay. That is freaking amazing. That is awesome. That is awesome. I think maybe in a different life, I would do something like that. That would be really, really cool. Really cool. We've probably been to the Planes of Fame air show at the same time. Yeah, we probably were. You're right. What is it? The separation, 6 degrees of separation. Who knows, Angie? We might have been standing right next to each other and we wouldn't have even known it. Crazy the way that the world works. Crazy how that is. But I love that air show. I mean, that was the first time I got to see all of those warbirds in person and fly in real life. And let me tell you, going to car races, I'm a car guy as well, obviously, as you probably know. Going to car races is really, really cool. You feel the power. You actually feel the power that the cars produce. I will never forget when Planes of Fame they probably put up about 12 P-51 Mustangs at the same time. Those are big radial engines, and they make a lot of noise. And man, those planes moving at 200, 300, 400 miles an hour all at the same time. It was insane. It was insane. I loved it. I loved it. So are you not an air show person? Are you like over the air show circuit now that you went to like all the air shows? I love it. Unfortunately, Plains of Fame, they don't do it anymore. It's up in Santa Maria now. So we got to go up north for that. So yeah, I agree with this. Can we bring the son of Cackleberry on for a Q&A? Yes. We need to have a special guest about that. Maybe we'll do a segment. It's totally not real estate related, but it's just super cool. And I do need to know more about this whole setup because maybe he needs a co-pilot because I'd be super down. I'm not a helicopter pilot. I'm more of a plane person, but I can learn. And so if he needs a co-pilot or something to do his yacht piloting adventures, you just let me know. You got to go to places like Greece. That's awesome. That is so cool. That is awesome. He was a Riverside County sheriff up until they moved to Prescott, and then he took the private job, and now he works out of Payson as a medical helicopter pilot. Very, very cool. He didn't really like it as they partied a lot, and he isn't into that. You know what? My only experience with this type of thing, Cackleberry, is the show Below Deck, which I don't know. It's a trashy reality show. I got to say, of all the reality shows, it's probably one of the least trashy. It's really cool because you get to see, it's like the life on a yacht, these luxury yachts and the people that, charter them and whatnot. Super, super cool. And those people do party a lot. And it seems like it's really hard because like they don't get a lot of sleep and then like they party all the time. I would be absolutely dead if that was me. There's no way I could do that. But wow, that is so cool. Riverside County Sheriff went to Prescott. So he was Riverside County Sheriff after he did the yacht thing. That's really cool. So did the yacht thing, then Riverside County Sheriff, then moved to Prescott, and now he's a medical helicopter pilot. That's very, very cool. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, we're getting a little sidetracked, but this is really cool. That's awesome. Really, really interesting stuff. Okay, guys, so let's talk about the housing market momentum builds as early year indicators align. Very, very cool. Let's see, Cackleberry, what else you got for us? You would know the principal, if I was allowed to tell you. No, he was a sheriff for 25 years. Oh, wow. So it's owned by a famous person. Interesting. And he was a sheriff for 25 years. Wow. That's really cool. What a story. Yeah, this guy needs to put out like a book or something. He's probably got all sorts of stories. Being a sheriff for 25 years, yacht, helicopter pilot. That's really cool. Really cool. All right, guys. So how is 2026 going to go for housing? And I'm not going to inject too much of my own opinion on this, but what I will tell you is that it does seem like 2026 is probably going to be one of the more stable years for housing. We thought 2024 was kind of going to be a bounce back year. We thought 2025 was going to be a bounce back year. And certainly we got better conditions in those 2 years, but not really either year wasn't really a breakout year for the housing market. 2026 is not going to be a breakout year either. We're not going to have anything major. When I say a breakout year, I mean that we are not anticipating any major shifts or changes. We're not anticipating huge shifts in the market. But there's always a caveat to that, right, guys? The caveat is things can change. And especially with the current administration, as we all know, Trump likes to make pretty quick, large movements with whatever he's doing, whether that's relating to, trades, tariff, economy, domestic policy, foreign policy, all that good stuff. The guy makes some pretty quick, harsh decisions, whether they're good or bad, whether you like them or not, that's up to you to figure out. But it doesn't seem like anything crazy is going to happen, but if something does happen, mostly geopolitical would be the big thing. And there is a possibility that could happen, right? It seems like the Greenland thing has quieted down a little bit, which has been a very, very big help. We talked about that on the last stream. And all of a sudden, the Greenland thing just evaporated. We haven't heard about it for a week. Nothing. We heard about it constantly for 2 weeks. It did crazy things to the market. And then Trump says, actually, you know what? I think we got it figured out. We're going to be fine. And then it just goes away. And that is the type of stuff that can rattle the markets a little bit. So we do think 2026 is going to be a little bit more of a stable year. Let's talk about what we are already starting to see and why we think it could be beneficial for buyers. Early 2026 data shows improving buyer demand, rising inventory, and stable pricing as the housing market begins the year on firmer footing. All of these things are good. They're positive. We need more inventory. Improving buyer demand is good when there is a little bit more buyer demand, and coupled with rising inventory, we get things going up together in lockstep. As demand goes up, some inventory goes up, demand goes up. That's good. That's what we want. And then additionally, too, if sellers see that buyers are still engaged in the market, then sellers might be a little bit more open to, potentially putting their home on the market because they know, oh, hey, people are going to buy it. In 2023 and 2024, and even into 2025, how many times did we hear, hey, the buyer demand is evaporated. The affordability is no good. Interest rates are high. Buyers aren't good. And how many times did we hear about, oh, well, sellers are just pulling their home off the market. They're just taking their home off the market because they didn't have faith in buyers. Well, the good news is if that buyer demand is there, then more sellers are going to be more likely to just think to themselves, hey, the buyers are back out. We tried to sell a year ago, couldn't get the price we wanted, couldn't get the terms we wanted, just wasn't enough demand for our house to sell where we needed to sell at. But hey, now all of a sudden the buyers are back and maybe we should put the home back on the market. And then we start to get a little bit more inventory. See, Cackleberry, we had a chat with our financial planner yesterday. He told us to wait until next year to buy if we need to get a mortgage. He thinks Trump is going to get interest rates back down to the 3s. Okay. I would be flabbergasted if we see rates in the 3s anytime soon. I will tell you, Cackleberry, that I absolutely hope that your financial planner is correct. I really, really do. Because that would be a phenomenal thing for the real estate market. That would give a lot of people a lot of opportunity. If rates do go back down to the 3s, I would be a little concerned about pricing, because if we see rates in the 3s again, especially if it's as little as 12 to 24 months, there's a lot of people that are going to come back into the market. There's a ton. Because that would basically be having the interest rate, over having the interest rate. Well, let's just take it we're at 6, let's say probably 3.5. So not quite half, but that's a substantial difference. And that's going to light things up. Personally, I think that we'll be lucky to see between 5 and 5.5. And I really do think that probably for the next 12 months, we're going to be staring between 6 and 6.25. I think that's probably the most likely scenario unless crazy things do happen. But we'll see. We'll see. But that would be great. That would certainly get things rolling. But I don't know if that will happen. But the good news is we are on firmer footing this year. And we're going to talk about some of this. Now, remember, this is from the Housing Wire. Housing Wire, all they do is analysis, housing and mortgage and financial analysis. These are not agents. Most of these people are analysts or economists. A lot of these people are real estate professionals, so ex-mortgage mortgage officers or ex-realtors. But that's one of the things that I like about Housing Wire is it's just very data-driven. There's not a whole lot of spin because it's basically just data people telling you the data that they've seen and found. Early 2026 housing data is beginning to show a clearer shift in market momentum, with multiple indicators moving in the same direction. Housing Wire's latest housing market tracker data points to improving demand, steadier pricing dynamics, and inventory growth that supports a more functional housing market. We like that. That's good stuff. Functional housing markets are good. As outlined in Housing Wire's weekly housing market tracker by Logan Motoshami, which, by the way, this is the guy right here. Logan is very, very smart. He's very savvy and he has great analysis. So if you're ever wondering what's going on the more kind of like financial market side of things, kind of the lending, kind of like why interest rates are doing what they're doing or what the market's going to be doing, Logan Motoshami is a great follow. So he has this thing called the Housing Market Tracker. It's a proprietary kind of data center that he put together that kind of just measures a bunch of different data points so that you get an idea of what the housing market is doing. Housing demand has historically strengthened as mortgage rates approach 6%. Earlier data suggests that relationship may be emerging again. Pending sales show January demand building. Weekly pending home sales reached 56,252 for the week ending January 23rd, posting gains both week over week and year over year. The January weekly totals highlight the consistency of recent gains across successive weeks. So here we go, week by week, they're breaking it down. And there was a huge increase. I mean, from January 9th, 39,000, January 16th to 50,000. And then just a week later, another 6,000 added on top. The quote from Logan Motoshami, "My work over the years indicates that housing demand strengthens when rates approach 6%. though we have not seen a sustained period at this level recently. 2026 may be the first year this trend holds. So basically, what he's saying is based on a ton of his research, a ton of his analytics, and a lot of the data that he's seeing, whenever we get those interest rates back to 6%, and again, we're talking post-COVID market. So, they went up 6.5, 7.5. They even touched 8 for a little while. And they've been hovering really between 6.5 and 7.5 for a very, very long time, for 2 or 3 years. And basically what he saw is every time rates inched towards 6%, demand picked up. And he's saying that basically, we haven't had a period where rates could hold steady at 6% really for very long. And he thinks that 2026 is finally going to be the year where rates could possibly hold steady in or around that 6% figure. We've kind of bounced around in the last few months between 5.99% and about 6.25%. Which again, steady. And you guys have heard me say this before. When things are steady, when things are predictable, and the article is going to touch on that. When things are steady and when things are predictable, especially with interest rates, people feel more comfortable making big decisions because they feel like they know what to expect, they know what's going to happen, and they know what's coming. And when you're making a decision like buying a house and taking out a mortgage for 30 years, you probably would like to know what to expect and what's coming. And from about 2021 to 2025 and to 2025, we really had no idea. It was just up, down, and around. Interest rates just really moving quite a bit. Administration changes, policy changes, tariffs, just a lot of noise out there. And the markets don't do good with noise. The steady climb points to improving buyer engagement beyond a single week seasonal rebound, even as the short-term readings are influenced by the holidays. Pending sales typically translate into existing home sales about 30 to 60 days later. Purchase applications reinforce the demand signal. Mortgage purchase application data also posted another positive week. Applications rose 5% week over week and were up 18% year over year. So the people applying for a mortgage, not necessarily pending home sales, but putting in an application, mortgage application, went up 5% week over week and 18% year over year. So this time last year, it was 18% less people doing those mortgage purchase applications. With the unusually low year over year comparison base from early 2025 no longer in play, double-digit annual growth carries greater significance. So basically what he's saying is this 18%, not only is it a big number, but it even means more so, because previously when we were looking at these big double-digit increases, when we talk about pending home sales, new home sales, things like that, keep in mind, guys, we were working at historically low levels in new home sales, pending home sales, existing home sales, mortgage purchase applications, super, super low, because again, rates were 6.5, 7.5, 8%. And so when we started to see improvements, we posted huge increases because we were starting at such a low number. Again, we've used this analogy, and when the doomers and the crash bros talked about how prices are crashing because they went down 12%. Well, it's like, yeah, they went down 12%, but they were already up 40%. So that's not really a crash. This is the same, but inverse. So basically what they're saying is now you have an 18% increase. That's huge now. That's a lot. Last year, we might have seen a 15% increase, but that 15% was less meaningful because the year before the number was so low. It would be like saying, hey, I have $1. Hey, now I have $2. I've doubled my net worth. My net worth doubled. Isn't that amazing? Well, yeah, but you're still not wealthy. So again, it's about talking about the proportion. And that's one reason that these numbers are even more significant right now this year than in previous years. We were working with such low points before that any increase looked big. But now when we see a big increase, it's actually a big increase. With the unusually low, we talked about that. Purchase applications generally lead to closed sales by about 30 to 90 days, making them a key near-term indicator as 2026 progress. Inventory continues to rise, though growth is moderating. Total active inventory reached 697,868 listings, up from 695,628 the prior week. During the same week last year, inventory rose 632 to 635. So again, even a bigger increase. The increase itself, the gap, pretty similar, but the overall numbers much, much bigger. That's great. Year over year inventory growth has slowed from mid 2025 peaks, but listings are expanding from a far healthier baseline than in recent years. Continued growth supports market normalization and provides buyers with more choice than the historically tight conditions that constrain transaction volume from 2022 through 2024. Based on Housing Wire's proprietary inventory and absorption data, the market is currently operating at approximately 2.6 months of supply, still very low. That level remains seller favorable while reflecting a more balanced and functional market environment. So this is pretty low. A general rule of thumb is we want to see like that 4 to 5 months supply to really have a balanced, even market. 6 months would be great. That would really start to help buyers. Anything over 6 months starts to become a buyer's market. So we're still pretty low in total months of supply, but it is January 28th. So we do have some seasonality in play there still. New listings improve as sellers return. New listings data has shown encouraging early momentum in 2026. Last week, 53,920 new listings came to the market, compared with 50,946 during the same week in 2025. A steady flow of new supply is critical to sustaining transaction volume, particularly as buyer demand improves. Pricing remains stable amid rising activity. This is good. This is one of the biggest positives that we don't want to see runaway pricing. We want to see prices remain stable, not go crazy. The median list price stood at $419,900, up slightly from $419,000 the prior week, and roughly flat compared with $421,000 during the same period last year. So that's good. Average pricing is pretty much, or I should say median pricing is still pretty much right where it has been for the last few years. Price reductions accounted for 33.6% of active listings. That's about normal, essentially unchanged from a year ago and in line with late January norms since 2023. Despite rising inventory, price cut activity has not increased, pointing to stable pricing dynamics rather than weakening conditions. So it'd be one thing if we had a rising inventory and then rising price cuts as well, that would be an indication that maybe there could be a little bit of a problem in the market in terms of like an oversupply, which could lead to devaluation in the property. But despite rising inventory, price cut activity has not increased. So sellers aren't having to take these deep cuts on their property in order to compete with the newer listings that are coming up. So again, much more stable. Market balance remains seller favorable, not overheated. That's great. The market action index registered 35.1, indicating seller favorable conditions while remaining closer to neutral than levels associated with overheated market cycles. That's good. Transaction flow remains active. Absorbed properties totaled 70,575 last week, while new listings reached 53,920. That relationship suggests inventory is being processed efficiently rather than building up or tightening further. So what to watch next? Mortgage rates remain the key variable. In the latest housing market tracker, Motoshami notes that improved mortgage spreads have helped keep rates steadier than they otherwise might be, even amid bond market volatility. And again, guys, when you're talking about mortgage rate spreads, we're talking about the difference between the 10-year treasury and the overnight Fed funds rate. And when the spread between those two, if you plotted them on a graph, if the spread between those is nice and narrow, like those two numbers are tight, that's a good spread. We want low spreads. That means that interest rates are going to be stable because it's tied to 10-year treasury, and it's not going to be as susceptible to the movements in the bond and financial markets. When those spreads get further apart, that's when interest rates typically tend to start going up. So we'd like to have good spreads. If mortgage rates can remain near current levels, demand indicators such as purchase applications and pending sales will be closely watched for confirmation that early 2026 momentum can extend into the spring. So according to Housing Wire, we're off to a very, very good start. So guys, we'll do a little dealer's choice here. So I got one more article from Investopedia, and it's basically, is 2026 the right year to buy a house? The market trends you need to know. Or we can cruise Zillow. So if there's anybody out there that wants to look at a specific market or a specific price point or anything like that, we can cruise Zillow. If there's anybody in chat that's like, oh, I've been thinking about buying a home here. Can we look at something? Can we evaluate some homes? Happy to do that. Or we can also do the random price and city generator, and we can just do some window shopping. So we can either do this last article, or we can do some Zillow window shopping while you guys contemplate your choices. So that because you guys are going to choose, I'm going to do my plug. You guys are used to this by now. You know how this works. If you are looking for a wonderful real estate agent anywhere in the United States, you can go to workwithjoerealtor.com. I'm going to put it into the chat as I always do. And you can go to my landing page here and you can click on any one of these links. There I am. Look, so see, this is a great example. See how my headshot, I'm mirrored here. See how my headshot, look, see, we're almost the same. I hate when realtors use the same headshot for like 87 years. It's like they use their like high school graduation photo. Can't stand that. See, guys, truth in advertising. I actually look like my photo, or at least I think I look like my photo. So anyways, you go to my website here, click on any of these buttons, connect with me. You'll fill out a little form and we can get you hooked up with a great agent wherever you're looking to buy. Again, we've been doing this a lot recently with a lot of out-of-state moves with my referral partners all over the place. Where I have a referral partner in Omaha referred me something. I referred someone to Arizona. I also referred someone to Vancouver, Washington. So all sorts of things. Referred someone to New Mexico. So if you guys need an agent and you want a 20% agent, not an 80% agent, 80% of agents don't know what they're doing. They're clueless. 20% of agents actually know what they're doing. You're going to want one of those on your journey. And of course, if you're in the Southern California area, LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino County, and areas of Riverside County, I am ready and game to help you personally. So you can reach out to me through this website as well. Okay, Angie, she speaks for the group. She wants the article. We're going to the article. All right, let's share this tab instead. Let's go back to my regular view. Boom, boom, boom. Here we are. Close this, get some of this stuff out of the way, and we're going to make this a lot bigger for you guys. There we go. Now we're cooking. Is 2026 the right year to buy a house? Key market trends you need to know. Home sales remain near historic lows in 2025 as high housing costs and elevated mortgage rates continue to keep buyers on the sidelines. But housing affordability is expected to improve in 2026, if only slightly. Well, hey, we'll take what we can get. It's not going to, again, guys, like I said when we started this, we're not going to get any monumental shifts or changes this year. But hey, let's get the help where we can get it. That could create an opportunity for house hunters who have been looking for the right moment to enter the market. Here are some housing trends to watch if you're in the market to buy a home in 2026. Mortgage rates will drop, but not as much as you think. Mortgage rates peaked at more than 7% in early 2025 and then eased in the second half of the year to around 6.2%. That offered some relief from the high borrowing costs that have helped freeze the housing market. Why this matters to you? Where this is just an ad thing. We don't need to worry about that. But most buyers don't expect mortgage rates to fall much further. The Mortgage Bankers Association projects rates will remain between 6 and 6.5% in the coming year. Real estate firm Redfin projects an average mortgage rate of 6.3% in 2026, while the National Association of Realtors also saw mortgage rates hanging at around 6%. All aligns with the same stuff I've heard. As we go into the next year, the mortgage rate will be a little bit better, said National Association of Realtors Chief Economist Lawrence Yoon. It will be a modest decline that will improve affordability. Yes, it will improve it, but not very much, Lawrence. I'm with Lawrence. I like him. I think he's a pretty good economist, but saying that, oh yeah, a modest decline will improve affordability. Well, it will, but barely. All the ads. Mortgage rates aren't expected to move significantly, even though the Federal Reserve is likely to continue lowering short-term interest rates in the coming year. And again, the federal funds rate doesn't dictate the mortgage interest rate, but they typically mirror each other. It's more the bond market that really affects the mortgage interest rate. So even though the Fed is going to cut rates, it probably isn't going to make a huge difference to the mortgage interest rate. We'll have to see what happens, obviously, because things can change, but it'll be probably more up to the bond market, the financial market, that would have a bigger impact on what's going on. We got a new chatter. Got a new comment. Hey, Zozo Panda 2554. Let's see what we got. Curious about Puerto Rico. How does buying there work? Insightful and thorough as always. Thanks. Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for hanging out in the stream. Glad you enjoy it. Good question. Okay, so Puerto Rico, obviously buying property there is kind of a mashup. It's a little bit of a mashup between buying something internationally, but also buying something like you would here in the States. The biggest piece of advice I would give you is there are going to, just with real estate here in the United States, there's a lot of local customs and norms. Real estate in California varies. So like real estate between California and New York varies greatly. Like in New York, they use attorneys. New Jersey, they use attorneys. California, we don't get any attorneys involved in a real estate transaction most of the time. For most standard and even some non-standard, like your probate or your trust sales, you still really don't need an attorney involved. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure that be aware of any specific local customs when it comes to buying property there. Now, can you buy property? Yeah, you can. If you're a U.S. citizen, it's a U.S. territory, it's not going to be an issue. You can buy property and it's on the dollar. Now, financing could be a little bit different because it's not a state. So financing, you might have to get a little bit creative for. I'm not sure if a traditional lender would lend for something in Puerto Rico. Most of the lenders that I see say, oh, I'm licensed in all 50 states. But I don't hear a ton of lenders say, oh, I'm licensed in all 50 states and, territories like Puerto Rico and Guam or whatever, right? So that would be one. Those would be the first two things that I look at. Is I would look to see first, what's the lending situation? Is a lender going to be able to give you a loan? And is that lender going to be a traditional mortgage lender like we have here in the United States? And then secondly, I would start to think about like, what are the local customs that I'm going to need to know? If you need to be connected with an agent, I don't have a referral partner. Let me see if I can figure out how to speak. I don't have a referral partner for Puerto Rico. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, but I'm always looking to expand my network and create more partnerships. So if it's something that you're serious about, go to my website, fill out the questionnaire, and I'd be happy to do some research on your behalf, find a good agent to connect you with, and then hopefully get some answers to your questions. So once again, Zozo Panda, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. Hope you enjoy the stream. Stick around. Right. The Fed has reduced interest rates by a total of 1.75 percentage points since it first started cutting in September 2024. But mortgage rates haven't come down in kind. I think that's a typographical error. In fact, rates went up after the Fed first began cutting and are only now just starting to return to September 2024 levels. Economists believe that the additional Fed rate cuts are unlikely to loosen mortgage rates further, which closely track the long-term borrowing costs reflected by the 10-year Treasury yield. Yeah, I don't disagree. However, if the Fed does lower the federal funds rate, I do still think it could have a positive impact on real estate. I don't think it would be as direct as impact on mortgage interest rates. But if the Fed does lower the federal funds rate, typically then what that does is that does kind of heat up the economy, warms up the economy a little bit. And I think that overall that makes people feel a little bit more optimistic. And I think that also makes people feel like, hey, if interest rates go down, businesses might expand a little bit. They might hire more people. Wages might go up. If businesses do expand, they do need to hire more people, but the labor force hasn't expanded. They might pay more to attract good talent so that they can use the low interest rate money to expand their business is a very common thing, right? If money is cheap, you might think, hey, I'm going to open up a second location. Or, hey, money is cheap. I'm going to add on to my shop so that I can fix 5 more cars. I'm a mechanic right now. I can only fit 5 in the shop, but what if I could fit 10? I could double my business. I've got cheap money. I'm going to expand the shop. But if I get 5 more cars, then I need 5 more mechanics. So I got to hire. Well, if more people are working, if more people are making more money, income could potentially go up. Income is slated to go up a decent amount this year, and that could alleviate some of the affordability issues. So even though cutting the Fed funds rate might not make a direct impact on mortgage interest rates, it still could definitely positively affect the housing market. Boy, talking tonight is tough for me. I normally don't get this tongue-tied, guys, but yikes. Okay, let's continue. The risk of growing budget deficits and elevated inflation expectations will keep longer term rates from falling further, even as the Fed cuts short term rates, the MBA wrote in its 2026 outlook. MBA expects there will be periods where rates drop, which will provide moments of refinance activity, similar to what has occurred several times in 2025. There are deals, but they may not be local. Housing prices are high, but the high cost housing trends aren't spread evenly across the US. Well, duh. Some areas are experiencing intense strains on affordability, while prices in other areas haven't risen as fast. Yeah, of course. This is normal. This is how it's supposed to be. Again, guys, I've been saying this for a while, where we had bad we had a bad view of the market in 2021, 22, 23, where we could just make these blanket statements that, everywhere the market is doing this. Guys, we've never been able to do that before 2020. We always had to take hyper-local approaches where, hey, this market over here is doing well. Oh, hey, this market over here is not doing so well. And you know what? These two markets may only be 30, 40, 50, 60 miles apart. And so the fact that some areas are experiencing intense strains on affordability and in others, prices haven't risen as fast, yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Cities on the California coast and in the heavily populated Northeast remain among the highest cost areas of the country to live, according to the Oxford Economics. Duh. But in some areas, the South and Midwest, housing prices are more reasonable, even if they are growing at a faster rate. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's always been. Nothing new there. Oxford Economics pointed to cities like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Detroit, St. Louis, New Orleans, Louisville, Memphis, Tucson, and Oklahoma City as cities that will still offer more affordable housing options. Yeah, I mean, I think this has always been the case. I mean, the Midwest push, right? Like, this is the Midwest, right? And people, for a long time, we've known that the Midwest is affordable. You just have to be okay with living in the Midwest, right? Arizona, same thing. You got to be okay with the heat. Oklahoma City, kind of like a Midwest thing. And then the South, New Orleans, Louisville, Memphis. Although Memphis is getting a little bit more expensive. Memphis is getting a little bit more expensive. A lot of Californians went to Memphis, so that area is getting a little bit more expensive. Although most of these metros have lower house prices than the U.S. average, more than half have seen stronger house price appreciation than the rest of the U.S. over the last 5 years. Still, what differentiates these more affordable metros is the differences in property taxes and insurance. That's the big one, property taxes and insurance. We're seeing that as one of the biggest sticking points for people. It's not necessarily pricing. It's sometimes is more necessarily the property taxes and the insurance that you're on the hook for after you buy the house. An adjustable rate mortgage might be right for you, but it probably isn't. With mortgage rates hovering around 6%, an increasing number of borrowers have turned to adjustable rate mortgages, commonly known as ARM loans. These loans can offer a lower interest rate for a set period, often 5 years, before periodically resetting based on a benchmark. In September, approximately 10% of home borrowers opted for an ARM loan, compared to the historical average of around 6% mortgage loans. ARM loans can be beneficial. They can be useful. The only ARM loan I really like is, and it's a rare product, you have to find someone that offers it, they do make a 10-year ARM loan. And that could be something that for some people is advantageous. Chances are in 10 years, we'll probably have a different landscape, hopefully better in mortgage rates, but we don't know. But I think the better thing to do is just take the 30-year fixed mortgage is it's the heaven product. I mean, that's the reason the United States real estate market has historically been so strong and so good. And if you think the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is not special, just ask anyone in Canada or the UK about how they feel about their non-fixed rate mortgages. So it happens. So we're seeing some positive things. ARMs can provide a path to more affordable mortgage, but they can carry some risk if the borrower can't make the payments when the rate increases. However, borrowers who choose ARMs generally have better credit scores, as these loans are evaluated against the current mortgage rate, not the introductory rate, period. In this environment where borrowers are struggling with lack of affordability, moving to an ARM can result in real savings. It may be better to buy a new home. While high prices have depressed home sales across the board, sales of newly constructed homes are outpacing those of existing homes, which remain at historically low levels. Generally, new homes have been more expensive than existing homes. However, more home builders are offering incentives, making new home prices more competitive with those of existing homes. In August, the most recent month for which data is available, new homes sold for an average of 413,500, lower than the average price of 422,600 for existing homes. Real estate is a real mess in Canada right now. Yeah, it has been for a little while. It's going to continue to be. It's going to get messy. Yep. I remember when we were doing some stories about Canada when they were really having some tough times with their market, that people were getting their notifications in the mail for their mortgage update. Because remember, guys, they don't have fixed rate mortgages; they reset. So every once in a while, you get a letter in the mail that's like, "Hey, your interest rate's changing, and you have to pay this now." And I remember that there were some reports of people getting those statements, and the country was basically saying, "We don't have a term for your mortgage. Like, it's endless right now. It's an infinite mortgage because we don't know when rates will adjust. We don't know how long you're going to keep this." That's just, it was so uncertain. It was so uncertain. People having to refi after having lost equity. Yep, absolutely. It's tough. Builder incentives, which can include mortgage rate buydowns, reduced building costs, and credits for housing design changes, have helped push new home sales higher. The limited inventory of existing homes is also making new homes competitive. Yeah, if you can't go out and get a resale home, it's like, well, I might as well go out and just buy a new one, right? If I can't find the used car I want, well, then I guess I'll just have to go buy it new. And in this case, the new houses are a little bit more affordable, but there needs to be a little caveat there. A lot of the new homes that are being built have quality issues. A lot of the new homes being built are on much smaller lots. A lot of new homes being built don't have some of the amenities and things that older homes have. So I don't think it's fair to just say, oh, a new home is cheaper than an old home. I think that they're missing something. My first question would be, well, why are older homes more selling for more money? Does that mean that people are valuing older homes more? I can tell you, I value an older home much more than a newer home. In my opinion, a home built in the 40s, 50s, or 60s, and even into the mid 70s, to me, is a much better product than any home built in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s. That's my opinion. Obviously, there's exceptions to that. People have custom built homes that could be different, but if you're just buying your standard tract home from any of the normal big builders, there's a reason it's cheaper than a resale home. No way I would buy a home there unless I could buy it outright. Yeah, exactly. Buy it outright. Then you don't have to worry about it. You can only live there 100 days a year without owning a business, even for retirees. Interesting. Wonder if the United States should implement something similar. I prefer older homes and established neighborhoods with bigger lots. Yep, I do too. That's why I bought the home I'm sitting in right now. It is an older home. It was built in 1955. It's in an established community. The home on that side of me was built in 1957, and the home on that side of me behind me here was built in 1953. So lots of 50s homes. There's a home up the street that was built in the 20s, which was super cool. And we have big lots here, at least 1/4 of an acre. And the lot I'm sitting on right now is a 1/2 acre, which is very rare and almost impossible to find in any new build. It would be impossible to find unless you went out to literally Timbuktu. Like, you'd have to go out in my area, what we would call like East Vale, Ukaipa, places like that. 103 years old. See, that's a quality house right there. Think of all the things it's seen. Yes, it probably costs a little bit more to maintain and to keep up, but man, your house is built with redwood. Your house was built by real craftsmen. Your house probably has all sorts of great historical character and detailing. Oh man, they don't build them like that anymore. Our old house was built in 56. Great year. 56 is a great year for houses. I mean, really, I think the 50s were the prime year. And especially if you have a 50s home that's been well maintained. Obviously, a 50s home at this point needs its plumbing changed out, might need a new sewer line. It's probably gone through 2 or 3 different roofs at this point. That's totally fine. But man, if those 50s homes are maintained, they're so solid. I mean, they're made of concrete, lath and plaster, it's just good stuff. It's good stuff. It's got some bones. What type of bones, MH? What type of bones? Where are they hidden? My house was built in 1946, but here in the mountains, they didn't seem to have any building standards. That's true, because I know from my local area here in Mount Baldy, there are some old homes, but they built those homes like very like shanty, like it was just like built like just to get it done. So yeah, a little bit different. And up there it's a lot more difficult too, because of the environment. You get a lot of wind, a lot of cold, a lot of rain and snow, and that can start to eat away at houses and so things like that. Parents, here we go. My parents' home was built in 1917. Oh, and what area was that, Angie? You don't have to get specific if you don't want to, but was that here in California, or is that like back east or somewhere else? Because 1917, that's pretty old for around here. Although we do have, in the older parts, we have homes built in that period. My grandfather and mom were born in that house. That's super cool. Whoa, grandfather and mom. That house was in the family a long time then. That's really cool. Hidden in the walls, lath and plaster. Yep, exactly. So there we have it, guys. That's pretty much the end of this one. So again, 2026, we're getting better. Things are getting better. We're on a little bit more even footing, a little bit more solid footing. Oh, in Germany. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I bet the 1917 in Germany, that's probably not even that old, because I feel like in Europe, like 1917, that's like practically new. I feel like a lot of the old European homes are like 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, but I haven't been to Germany. My experience in Europe is pretty much Italy, for the most part, and then Japan, but that's not Europe. Yeah, I mean, Germany, that's like not even that old, I don't think, but that's really, really cool. My grandparents' house in Illinois was built in 1800s. Wow. Probably part of the original kind of West settlers, after when the government was given, I forget the name of what was the name of the thing where they were, if you go settle the territory, you just get the land. They're like, oh yeah, if you just go there and claim it, we'll just give it to you, because the United States wanted to expand further. Probably haunted. Yeah, probably is haunted. You're right about that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. We're coming up on an hour. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. Kind of a chill one. We'll see what happens over the course of this next week. Don't know what we'll do next week unless some news or some stories come out. Again, I'll try to find another house to cover. And we'll just see what's going on with the latest real estate stuff. And that I'll bring it to you as I always do. So thanks so much for giving me some of your very valuable time, guys. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out for an hour with me on your Wednesday evening. I hope you guys have had a good week, and I hope you guys continue to have a great week. We should have some great weather coming up here locally in Southern California. And if you are in an area that's been affected by the huge winter storm across the United States, I hope you're staying dry and warm, especially my friends on the East Coast and in the Midwest. Oh, wait, we got a late comment from Cackleberry. We can't sign off yet. Joe, next time you're in AZ, you should go to the Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson. My son-in-law dragged us all there. It was interesting if you like planes and helicopters. I love a good air and space museum. I went to one up in I can't remember it. Santa Maria, super cool. My wife loves air museums and museums, so we will absolutely be going to that. Thank you for the tip, the Pima Air and Space Museum, and I will be in Arizona several times this year. So I will absolutely do that. Thank you for the tip on that. Paso Robles, yes, that's where it was. Paso Robles, really cool. Not a big museum, but it was really, really cool. Thanks so much, Angie. Have a good night. Always good to see you. I will see you next time. All righty, guys. Have a great week. Thanks for your very valuable time. We'll be back next week and we'll have some more fun. As always, guys, be kind out there. It's a crazy world. We've got some crazy weather. So try to be patient, slow down, and be nice to everyone. All right, guys, I'm out. I will see you next week. Have a good week. See you then. Bye, guys.